Hey guys, what's up? Dingocrikey here with another commentary video, this time discussing the supposed upcoming Transformers Combiner Wars animated series. So this is some news that has been out there for a little while now that we may in fact be getting a Combiner Wars animated series. However, we really haven't had many updates on it or been given much of an idea of what it might actually be. But supposedly, New York Comic Con, which is coming up in a little less than a month, should give us some reveals for this Combiner Wars animated series. But other than that, we really haven't had much updates on it. However, I really haven't discussed it in full yet, so I figured I should do a video giving my thoughts on what this series might be like and what I think of the idea in general. So first off, let's look at what we know about this whole ordeal so far. I'll leave some links in the description below to articles on it. Some of the articles contain quotes by Hasbro's senior VP and people from Machinima, which make it seem pretty legit that in some form we are going to be getting a Combiner Wars animated series, or an animation, something of the sort. Much of what's actually been said about this cartoon seems to just be speculation within the article, so you gotta kind of watch out for that. It might just be the author of the article. We do know that along with help from Activision and IDW, it is supposedly being produced by Machinima Incorporated. I've never really followed Machinima, like on their YouTube channel, stuff like that, but from what I understand, they do work with making a lot of short films. Going from there, we don't know what the animation style is going to be. However, it seems to be largely speculated that it will be 3D as opposed to 2D. But once again, no confirmation on that. Then we have what has definitely been the most interesting point of news, and that is that the cartoon will be directed at the teen and adult members of the Transformers audience. Which, even though we've had Transformers shows such as Beast Wars and Prime, which definitely could appeal to older fans, Transformers has never really gotten the same treatment that things such as Batman or Star Wars have gotten, where those franchises can have like novels and video games directed primarily at an older audience. And depending on what it is, it may be something that younger fans can get into, but primarily it's directed towards teens or adults. Lastly, I think there is speculation that it could be connected to the comics in some way, especially with IDW's involvement, but I don't think we really have anything concrete as to whether it's going to actually be in the same storyline as the comic book, that kind of thing. But I think that sums up a lot of what we actually know about it. My thoughts on this, it sounds like it could be really cool, but I'm staying a little bit hesitant on getting my hopes up too high just because there's so much we don't know. As mentioned, at least as far as I can remember, there's really been nothing this mainstream that has been part of Transformers, mainly referring to the idea of it being a more mature Transformers series, which I think is kind of the main appeal here, because Transformers as a franchise really has never grown up with its fans, as a lot of things have, such as Harry Potter. Though I haven't read the books, that's what I've heard from a lot of people and read online, is that as the books go on, they kind of grow up with their audience. I think G1 Bionicle kind of did this later in its run, but Transformers really always seems to reboot before it can really mature. And it makes sense that we would always have a side of Transformers that is directed towards a younger audience, because, you know, this isn't something like Harry Potter, which is a series of books and a story that, you know, can grow up with the audience. It's something that's primarily directed towards, well, selling toys, and kids are going to be the main people buying toys. In this day and age, we definitely have a lot more people who are into collecting and older kids still buying toys, even adults. But, you know, you still have that kid audience as your primary one. I think at this point in Transformers, it is about time we got a cartoon that could be focused towards the older audience. I mean, Transformers has been around 30 years, and I think it's pretty evident that there's a big percentage of the community that are teens or adults. I mean, going into the stores, I don't only see little kids picking up Transformers. And if you go onto message boards or just the internet, there's definitely a large amount of the audience who probably would fit into an older demographic. So, what will we be looking at in this more mature oriented Transformers cartoon? Well, I think one thing to keep in mind is that up to date, they haven't said anything such as this is going to be mature, aka M-rated material, or it's going to be adults only, really edgy, dark. According to several sources, Hasbro's VP, Tom Warner, has just said it's going to be designed specifically for teens and adults. So there can be a lot of speculation as to what that could mean for this animation. Personally, I want to see something that is, for lack of a better word, more mature. But it still has to be a certain type. A lot of people are saying, well, it's got to be dark, they've got to have, lots of character deaths, and they got to swear and have innuendos and all that stuff. I mean, that certainly makes it a lot more inappropriate, but, I don't think that's really what I would want to see. I mean, that alone, it's kind of what we got in Michael Bay's Transformers films. They were definitely a lot more violent. They even gave the Transformers blood. They definitely had a ton of innuendos, but it didn't make them good movies. I mean, this is kind of breaching on a whole other topic, but basically when they say it's going to be more mature, I kind of want something that is, I guess, more sophisticated would be a better word. Having characters who are realistic, have believable personalities, good voice acting, and their own conflicts that viewers can relate to, rather than just like Sideburn in the original Robots in Disguise, who, he chased red cards and, that was his thing. Transformers are going to be different than people, but basically develop the characters in a way so even though they're giant robots, we can still really relate with them and connect with them and believe almost that their world is real, that kind of stuff. I think that would be really cool. But also, I would want it to be a series where they have the freedom to kill off characters if they want to. I mean, the movies kill off a ton of characters, and I guess you could say that's dark, but I don't think that really made it a good story, as opposed to something like Armada or Beast Wars. Without giving away spoilers, there's some key characters who get killed off in that show, and it has way more of an impact because of the development they got. I think other aspects of maturity I would like to see is, having situations that can't just be solved by, oh, these two people need to work together this one time and everything's going to be hunky-dory, but things will be the same in the next episode. Stuff like that. Focus on bigger conflicts, more intricate stuff that can't just be solved that easily. An example of a good, mature Transformers episode is one that actually never materialized. It's a Beast Wars episode. Beast Wars spoilers coming up if you want to skip the next minute or so. But basically, after Dinobot died, he's cloned by Megatron, and at a certain point, the Maximals realize that this new Predacon is a clone of Dinobot. And there was supposed to be an episode where Rat Trap tries to get some information to this clone that will hopefully jar some good in him, as the original Dinobot had, and it would have later played into some of the events toward the end of the show. The episode was basically cut, I believe, because it was considered to be non-kids show material, especially after they had episodes such as Transmutate and Code of Hero, and I think all three of those episodes are examples of the stuff I would like to see in Transformers. Also stuff that kind of builds their society, makes the world of Transformers feel believable. Like, the movies never really gave me that impression because they all just kind of run around like monsters. Something that really creates a world around Transformers, kind of like what they seem to do in the comics, bringing that out in a cartoon, kind of like what Transformers Animated did, I think would be pretty cool. So basically, I wouldn't mind if these stories were able to get more violent at certain points, but I don't want that to be like the central focus. If the story leads it in a more violent direction, if it becomes more dark naturally, that's cool. But if they're just basically making a generic storyline so they can have a bunch of blood and swearing, then, it's not really a good, mature show. As far as swearing goes, I mean, they're Transformers. Logically, they shouldn't be using the same words humans do. It should be like slag and stuff, so that shouldn't be a problem. And as far as like sexual innuendos, I don't really see why we need them. I mean, they're Transformers, which is what someone in the article is saying they would like to see. And yeah, a surprising amount of people in the community are kind of going on about personally, I don't think Transformers needs it though. Basically, I would like to see something that's more mature, more intricate, but preferably if it can be something that if, kids who are into more mature stuff, if their parents let them watch it, it can be something they can get into too. It isn't incredibly inappropriate, because even as a kid, I always wanted to see Transformers kind of step it up as far as the storytelling, and I'm sure there's a lot of younger fans out there today who like robots in disguise, but maybe would like to see something beyond just strong arm and sideswipe always arguing about discipline and being a rebel and, stuff like that. But those are just kind of my opinions on, what it should be like if it's going to be directed towards a teen or adult audience. I know other people might have other definitions for what that means. That's totally cool. Those are just personal opinions. You can drop off your own in the comment section below. One more thing I want to touch on, though, is what it might actually be like as far as the format. Personally, if it's 3D or 2D, either way, I'll be pretty happy. I mean, there's really good CG and there's some awesome 2D animation. I'm more looking at what it will actually be as far as a series. Is it going to be like a mini-series, a long-running thing, short episodes? Basically, what I would like to see is something where they work within their budget and make the content of the series as dense as possible. Even if that's only like 6 episodes, like a mini-series we get out of it. I would much prefer that than 26 episodes that are just kind of, meh. Now, there was a trailer released that was supposedly for this cartoon, which showed some clips from the Combiner Wars commercial, the Transformers Devastation game, stuff like that. If this animation's just something like that, it's definitely not worth sticking around for. Even if it's just a series of like 5-minute animations, really wouldn't be too exciting. I'm hoping they at least make sort of a mini movie or something like that. Personally, I would most like to see like an 80-minute film or a mini series. In that case, we have something that is not just like a clip show, so to speak, but not as drawn out as a series, so hopefully it can be really dense and have a lot of cool stuff in there. And then if it's successful, they can go on to do future things, possibly longer projects, which would definitely be really cool. But as of right now, we really don't know what the format is going to be like. Maybe it's something we really haven't thought of. Machinima primarily seems to do a lot of online stuff for video games, so it might not even be limited to a traditional series. We'll just have to see. Anyways, those are my thoughts on it. You guys can leave yours in the comments section below. What do you think of Combiner Wars possibly getting its own animated series? Do you like the idea of it being in the hands of Machinima? Do you hope it follows some of the comic book plotlines or starts something new? Or maybe you think it's kind of a scam and we might just get a collaboration of a bunch of different pictures from the comics and video clips of Combiner Wars commercials. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, along with any topic suggestions you have for more news stories such as this, or just discussion topics, as I have some videos like that on my channel. If you're interested in Combiner Wars, be sure to check out some of my figure reviews. Currently, I don't have a ton on my channel, but I'm working on getting more uploaded, so check out the ones I currently have and stick around for future ones, along with news and commentary. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I will see you soon.